All right, Bang Bang. Today is Thursday. It's September 16th. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. Chief, Dante, Doc Review, Free Swim. How we doing?
I'm good.
Don't jump all at once.
Hey, well,
Do not jump all
like
at once.
Dante, I was going to defer to Dante, let him
Fucking
get settled
distracted
in.
Dante goes to Machine Gun Kelly and is just a bag of shit here today.
He's got a little jet lag, an early morning flight. Credit to Dante for getting up and getting here.
Yeah.
A lot of people in this office might not have made it.
We need to circle back on this at the end. I don't want to get completely off the rails here, but I had heard a great story last night from the guys in the office that I have to ask you about.
It's about me?
Yes. That's something that I was fucking floored by because I thought I've known you for a while. Or I have known you for a while, and I thought I knew everything
Well,
there
you
was
always
to know
claim
about you.
I'm this mysterious
You
guy.
are a little bit of a mystery.
You are super. This just further proves how mysterious you are.
I just like
Well,
to
now-
separate church and state.
I like that about you, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a big thing of mine.
Yep.
I'm excited to hear what this is now.
I kind of feel like we can't wait.
I have a way to tie. I have a way to tie it in. We'll do it at the
all
end.
right.
I promise.
All right. I'm a
Teaser.
little nervous now. But regardless, before we kick it off here, before we really get into it, we got to talk about Miller Lite. It's fall. It's here. Football season, college football season, and hockey season and NBA will be right around the corner. So make sure you're enjoying it.
We're
with
like
Miller Lite.
29 days from
NHL?
from Blackhawks home opener from Blackhawks opening night.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Feels great.
Hockey season, it comes like out of nowhere. I feel
Just-
more than anything.
Like last year, because I don't know, there's a lot of anticipation because it's January. Now it's like October when it drops in the middle of football season. You're like, ooh, let's go. Sneaks
Yeah.
up on people.
For sure. So whether you're enjoying that, whether you're enjoying a nice or one of your last rooftop parties here or a cookout, make sure you're just doing it with the original light beer, Miller Lite. You can pretty much find it anywhere. So you walk into a grocery store, it'll be there for you. And that's the best, or one of the best features, I should say, about it, is that it's always there for you. So next time you're getting ready to enjoy cold ones with your friends, go to MillerLite.com/redline to find the delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. All right, so we watched the, and this is one we've had on hold for a while, I feel. And I've just been putting it off because we had Labor Day and there was a bunch of stuff going on. But
We got an avalanche of requests for this one.
Yes, more so than like anything. It is crime and untold penalties. Crime and penalties.
There you go.
Untold crime and penalties.
Correct.
About the Danbury Trashers.
The good old UHL.
Yeah. Now, my first question is, you have ties to that region. Did you have any awareness of this at all?
Absolutely not. So I was,
Thank you, because I felt like an idiot.
yeah. Oh, I mean, I know Danbury. I've skated in that rink. But I was, so that was, the documentary took place from like 04 to 06, which I was in prep school 04, 05. So it was probably 2 hours, something like that for me. Wouldn't you say to let's say if it's Springfield to Danbury, 2.5, maybe more than that, maybe like 3-4 hours. But yeah, no, I didn't know that this was going on. If like the vibe I got, and I don't they showed things that were on like ESPN, and it was definitely during the lockout year. Like I remember because I was at prep school when hockey got canceled, and everyone's like, fuck. So maybe there was this vacuum of people looking for hockey. And they found it kind of with the UHL, and the Danbury Trashers, because it was insane. But no, I didn't know what was going on, and despite the Sports Center pieces on them.
Yeah, so if you're unfamiliar at this point, I mean, obviously you should watch it and come back and listen, but it's about a hockey team in Danbury, Connecticut that was purchased by a mobster. Can we call him a mobster? Is it okay?
Yeah, you can call him a mobster. He had, I think he takes pride in it. I don't think he thinks of being as a mobster as a pejorative. He talks about it, and he has a signed picture with the actor who played Tony Soprano as hey, shout out to the real Tony Soprano. And they made this whole link about how it was loosely based on this guy.
Jimmy Galante.
Jimmy Galante, who was, running it was like, Tony Soprano's in Jersey. The guy we're based on, he's in Connecticut, so let's put him in Jersey. Let's name his son AJ. He's got a son named AJ. So it's like there's a lot of like ties back and forth, and they're in the trash business, which is obviously like a central part of the show Sopranos, that they're running the trash business. So very like, there's no one that's more of a mobster than this guy. He's a gangster.
He buys a team for his son. His son runs a team, president, general manager, at 17 years old.
Yeah. There was one moment, speaking of the prep school thing real quick, there was one moment where they're showing the son, AJ, when he's like playing high school hockey and like running around just like nailing guys, that he had a Brewster Academy jersey on in one of the scenes. And Brewster Academy is a prep school up in New England. So I was like texting buddies that I knew that went there, and that's where Barstool actually had the Barstool Classic, was basically on their campus up in Lake Winnipesaukee. And no one seems to remember, even though they're there at the same time, this kid. So I don't know if what's going on.
Dude, there's no way he played like at that school. There's no way.
You don't think so?
He was a goon, for one. Two, he didn't look like he could skate.
It didn't look like he can skate, and it doesn't sound like he had any sort of academic chops whatsoever. But in that prep school environment, especially with particular schools, like you
had to be a phenom to play at those schools.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, such as yourself. But dude, he like he relished in the fact that he was a goon. He was. He said, "I like to go around and just
fucking smash people."
Yeah. And he loved parents booing him and like yelling shit at him.
He was the heel.
Yeah.
He loved being the heel.
That was the other thing I loved about this, is he was so passionate about wrestling. And he loved backyard wrestling, and he kept trying to find ways to incorporate that into hockey, which I fucking thought was the funniest thing ever.
And that was like the to me, like they opened up the doc with this little bald guy who was the commissioner of the league, and he was saying how he's like talking straight to the Galantes, like, hey, don't make an embarrassment of hockey, don't do this, don't do that, and they're like, hey, you won't have any problems with us. They had nothing but problems. But at the same time, buddy, to the commissioner, this is the United Hockey League. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. You got a full building in the United Hockey League, and you're like, what are we talking about? Oh, if 4 fights is fine, 8 is too many? No. You should be doing... The Galantes are they should have made the Galantes the commissioner. The racketeering, the money laundering, all that, wire fraud, all this stuff running through the organization, sure, that's a problem. Those guys knew how to put on a show, and it's because they incorporated the wrestling storyline element, or the bad boys, all that. Otherwise, the United Hockey League is like a nothing league. Like
it's fighting. I mean, I had a few friends. They weren't on your level, but they played at St. John's. They went on. They played at Northeastern, and some of the other better New England schools. And then they went and played in these independent leagues afterwards.
Yeah.
Some of them were in Iowa. Some were in Nebraska, and they're in these podunk fucking towns where it's all these people had to do, and they go out and. We used to stream their games on the internet, and it literally, puck would drop, gloves would drop.
Yeah.
And it was fighting on the ice. It wasn't really even hockey.
Well, and like different leagues are like that. And we should have had Scott come on for this one too. But like, because Darling played in all these different leagues, the Southern Pro League, this and that. But it's like, realistically, you have the NHL, then you have the AHL, and then you have the East Coast League, which is East Coast League is affiliated oftentimes to be like AA, but it's also kind of a joke. Okay, like that's when Scott's talking about like the Wheeling Nailers, and he's playing for they're playing at 10 a.m. because the local school district scheduled a field trip to go watch them play, so the game's at 10 a.m. Like it's kind of a joke. Then you have like 10 feet of shit, and then you have the UHL. So the fact that these guys in Danbury, Connecticut, were getting sold out barns, like 5,000 people a game, like willing to pay money and buy merch and like care. They had like a section that was sold out every night called Section 102, which was just like their only job was to
bunch of maniacs.
It reminded me of Dave's boys at the Cell.
Oh, the Section 108
guys.
They're very tame compared to the 102 people. Very tame.
All right. So being from that area, when you think of Danbury, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I was so little that I don't like my grandparents. My parents are from that
Not
area.
the prison.
I don't know about it.
Oh, so yeah. So Danbury's famous for their prison. I forget what they call it, but it's like a resort. It's where all the white collar criminals in this country go.
Okay.
So all the like Wall Street fucking guys that go down, that rarely go down, and they do a bid, they go to Danbury.
Okay.
It's there's like no security. It's super dope amenities, great meals. People can come in, like families can come and go and see him. Martha Stewart didn't stay there, but I know Lauryn Hill stayed there when she did tax evasion. And the Real Housewives chick, Teresa Giudice, she did her time there.
Yeah, so I have it pulled up here. Danbury is the site of a low-security men's and women's prison, the Danbury Federal Correction. So it's a federal place.
It's big time. But that's like all I knew Danbury for. So when when I'm watching this, and they're showing national attention on this team, and ESPN and all the fucking, they were in the newspaper every day.
Well, it's quite the storyline.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So this guy, he's running basically front with his garbage company. And he started from the ground up, but it was a subsidiary of the Genovese family.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and this goes, what's crazy about like garbage is this goes all the way back to Italy. Mm-hmm. This is still going on there today. Like the mob still runs the garbage racket in Napoli, and they have a stranglehold on it. They have for hundreds of years, because whenever they want to extort the government, because it's a public service, they don't pick up the trash.
So they just have them by the balls.
So you will drive around and it'll look like New York City does every day, but for weeks. And trash will just pile up. And Napoli's a shithole.
Okay.
Naples sucks. And trash will just pile up. And the government will have to cave in and fucking pay. So the mob has been doing this since it originated. So they brought it over here, and they've been doing the same thing here in this country. Yeah. So like the whole Sopranos thing, that's not fiction at all.
Right. Well, that's funny, because when I was watching the documentary, and same thing with when I was watching Sopranos, it's like, why they don't explain why the mob is in with the trash, and I just never understood like why they picked that industry and that business to like what's so good about. I was like, in my head, I'm like, are they using it because they can just easily get rid of bodies? Is that worth it? No, but that actually makes much more sense. Whenever they feel like it, they can just turn the screws, because like people won't. That's like one of the things like people won't stand for.
And it's a necessity.
Yeah, right.
You can't. What are you gonna do? Like,
right.
You
Big time.
Yeah. So he runs this mega corporation. They were doing trash pickup for all of Eastern New York, pretty much.
Well, and it goes, I think, all the way into the Genovese family, because that was in the Irishman. That's like the Jimmy Hoffa stuff. Like he was involved in the trucks with that.
Yeah.
So they had trucking, obviously, but they also had like the garbage trucks, and that was the storyline, and one of the things with Jimmy Hoffa too.
And I thought one thing the doc did a great job of is it set the tone from the bat. Like it set the tone very strongly with, like you said, the Tony Soprano picture to the real sign to the real Tony Soprano, and then the fact that these WWE wrestlers were at his birthday. So
it was not. I mean, I'm not a big wrestling guy. It was The Rock.
Yes,
The Rock was just at this kid's 10-year-old birthday.
And China. I mean,
and
dude,
Billy
DX
Gunn
was so big back then.
Yes, like the way you see, I saw that, and that was the perfect microcosm to see that this is fucking real shit. Like, this is power. To be able, power and money to get these people there, that's big.
I bet you, and it's because, the WWE is run out of Connecticut.
Yeah, they're right there.
They're right there. So I bet you, like, hey, and they show them, that was a kind of a funny thing too, is when they announced that they're putting this team in Danbury, they immediately show all these pictures with the Blumenthal and all these elected officials, and then it's like a callback at the end of the documentary when they're going to jail. It's like all the same people that he was breaking ground with and cutting the ribbon with and shaking hands. They all fucking knew he was doing that stuff before, and then they're like, oh yeah, this is a great guy. The roads, he does all this stuff for the community. Italian American of the Year, shaking hands, this and that. Oh, and then fast forward 2 years later, he's going to do 8 years in prison.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That did kind of bring all that back, but
Right.
they did a great job setting the tone right there, and then the storytelling was very good too. I
They
thought.
flipped it on me, Ed.
Yeah.
When this started out, I hated the kid. I
Hated.
hated the father. And by the end of it, I loved him. I did a 180.
I mean, the kid is Kevin Federline, right? Like he's Kevin Federline.
Yes.
So that's why
Yes.
I wish they would have. I don't know. Maybe it was too personal, and maybe he didn't want to say it. But I wish they kind of would have said what the injury was, because that looked pretty serious. He was using crutches for.
So the kid loves hockey. He gets into it while his dad's in prison the first time.
Yeah. He
His
watched
dad-
Mighty Ducks.
Yes, that's a big point.
Right.
So he watches Mighty Ducks, falls in love, says, I want to play hockey. His dad comes out of prison and his kid is a goon, and he loves watching his kid fuck people up. So he probably tried to send him to prep school, which is where that part came. They didn't really get into that.
No.
But he suffers a career-ending injury, they call it, which what career did it end? But
it sounds so. He was named that GM at 17. So his career-ending injury, like, buddy, your career was ending in about 3 months either
Right.
way. So
Right.
like, you're not going anywhere. Like, that was not a college hockey.
So the dad scratches his head and says, how can I keep my son in the game that he loves? So he obviously buys a pro team for him and installs it in their hometown. And it becomes the Trashers, ode to the company business. And then it just fucking turned into a circus immediately, which is what I loved. Like, they wasted no time in this. They went, this kid, the press conference was gold. The press conference reminded me of his opening press conference where he greeted the media, reminded me of the scene in Meet the Parents when Ben Stiller's saying grace.
Yeah. yeah.
The kid goes, today is a truly great day. And
Here-
they like,
yeah.
and they like,
Hey,
pause.
listen, it's not his fault. He doesn't
a
know how to.
kid.
He's
He's just a
17.
kid. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like that's why. Like watching that, like I'm sure a lot of people will be like, "Oh my god, what a dummy!" Dude, he was 17, like you said. Like,
Oh, yeah,
it's not
shit.
his fault.
Yeah, I'd be shitting my pants.
Yeah, you don't know how to
Also-
deal with that yet.
I don't know how long we've been talking about this, but the guy, T-Bone,
Oh, the worst.
what a fucking character.
Wait.
The equipment
Oh,
manager.
okay. Hold on. That's what I want to get to next.
Okay.
Sorry, but before we get to it, gotta
Okay.
talk about DudeProducts.com.
I love Dude Products.
DudeProducts.com, Dante. Why would you wipe your ass with that scratchy toilet paper, buddy?
So Chief is such a big Dude Products proponent that Cheryl brings up to me all the time. Why is Chief always talking about these dude wipes?
Because they're fucking great, Cheryl. They're great. And I love, like, the shower wipes are awesome. I love the revitalizing one. And then, I said this on the previous show too, but it's beef season. It's chili season. Don't fuck around with that scratchy toilet paper. Get the flushable wipes from Dude Wipes. They're unbelievable. It's a game changer. You're going to need them for the fall.
Yeah, they're great, honestly, so go do it. Large flushable wipes made with plant source fibers designed to give your butt a cleaner, more refreshing finish than TP that they're dropping a deuce. They also have Dude Powder, Dude Shower body wipes that are great for those hot, sticky days. You know what? You're going to be, the worst season people don't talk about is that season where it's like, it's fall and spring. And it's like too hot.
like
So you always bring a
kinda like
jacket.
right now.
So when you're in a bar, but like it's too hot for a sweatshirt, so you're just always sweating, have a little dude wipe for you there, a dude shower.
That's smart,
And
too.
wipe yourself down when you get a little sweat going. You got to take the sweatshirt off at the bar. Go to dudeproducts.com. Use code BC15 for 15% off your entire order. That's dudeproducts.com. Use BC15 for 15% off your order. So that's what I was going to say. They also took it into the next phase for me, and they did a great job introducing characters that I ended up caring about by the
yes.
end of the doc.
Yes.
Wingfield, the Nigerian monster.
Yep. I remember him in the NHL too.
Do you?
Oh yeah. Like, that was a guy, like, if you were playing I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it was on Dreamcast or maybe it was on N64, but it was the video game that had Keith Chuck on the cover. And so it was like late 90s, early 2000. Like, if you were like doing a franchise mode where you're building a team, you went and got that guy.
Yeah.
Because you just, like, back then, especially, you're a kid, like, part of the fun is just getting in the fights and beating the shit out of each other in the video game. So he was a bad boy. He was a bad, the Nigerian Nightmare, like, that was a legit perfect fitting name.
Yeah, and there was the twins.
Yeah.
There was a guy named One Eye Willie.
Dude, you're right. Like they were legit characters.
So they
Yeah.
did like they called me really good. I was like, oh damn, okay, like
But the kid went around and picked all these misfits.
Well,
Yeah.
Up.
and
And-
that talking about the characters with Wingfield, like you're saying, when he was like,
Talk about this guy because he was the star of the show, in my opinion.
Well, Wingfield is like, hey, like we got the kids, AJ, the GM, the president of the team at 17. He's like, oh my god, like now I actually have to go to work, and he was feeling intimidated, so he starts like going through like different rosters, and he has this guy T-Bone, this bald guy who like
was his equipment manager in high school or in middle school.
and coach, and he would be like, his quote was like, AJ was saying like you hit guys like 10-year-olds in practice while you were like coaching him. He goes, he's like, did you do it? He's like, yeah, I did that. He's like, why? He goes, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit. So this guy is doing lines and then going out and coaching 10-year-olds.
yeah. See, character wise, that was my only issue. I guess is we needed more of that guy
That guy needs his own documentary.
because he was so
I hated
ridiculous.
him.
Yeah.
I hated him.
Oh, yeah.
But he was so ridiculous. Like, but when he came on with the cigar, just sitting there, and that was the one guy that the commissioner hated more than anybody.
Yeah.
He was like
He's
that
the-
fucking guy.
The commissioner said he's the only equipment manager in the history of hockey to get a suspension. So and he loved it. He struck me as a guy. They talked about the Galantes, and they had they referenced some of their like guys who were working for the company. It was like tough mafia guys,
Yeah.
like the Muscle. He struck me as a guy who was like wanted to be one of those guys so badly.
Oh, so bad.
Like he wasn't really, but he wanted to be.
this,
So he,
Yeah.
to this day, he's still like Jim. No one fucks with Jimmy.
yeah,
It's like, guy.
Jimmy probably hasn't talked to you in 30 years.
Yeah.
But
he was crying at the end.
Yeah. Then but the thing with Wingfield, I want to go back to that where they're talking about, he's like, I got to put this roster together. I got to do this. I got to do that. And the guy T-Bone says, hey, I found a guy for you. He just beat the shit out of 6 correctional officers. He's like, let's sign him up. Let's sign him up. It's like, what? Okay, so that's your first roster pick, is this guy who is a genuine psychopath.
Yeah.
And, a lot of fighting majors and a tough dude.
But credit to AJ again, because it's one of those things, and I'm not super into the hockey world. Like, I don't even know where I would start with that. That would be, there's so many different leagues, where
Yeah.
it's pretty clear for me in other sports, and that's just because I don't follow hockey as closely. But
Well, you're right about that, though.
Yeah.
Like there are, like the UHL doesn't exist anymore, but there, the Southern Pro League is still a thing, and there's all sorts of these, like almost like the movie Slapshot, where these like ragtag kind of hockey teams. And I want to say that there was a team that played out. Where the Bulls G League team is?
yeah,
Out in Arlington Heights. Like there was a team called the Chicago Hounds that played there. That was a pro team. It's like, I don't know what fucking league they
Yeah.
were in. And that was probably like maybe 12 years ago. That
Dude,
team
there's
exists.
a team, Chicago Steel.
Oh, that still exists. That's a junior hockey team.
Oh,
That's
it
like
is?
they're legit. Like a guy got drafted to the first round of the NHL from that team this year.
No shit.
Yeah, that's like a legit team. But it's kind of almost similar to baseball, where you see like the independent league teams.
yeah,
Where it's like, oh, we got the
Frontier League, the
Front-
Thunderbolts and shit.
right, the what's the team down in Gary, the Gary Nailers or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, so the hockey
Steelyard.
Steelyard. Yeah, so hockey has a lot of leagues sort of similar
Like
to
that.
that. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's where this would kind of fit in. Guys
So-
hanging on for like they
So he-
probably can't read. A lot of those guys are hanging on for like one last.
But
little-
he's cherry picking all these guys, and clearly, as a viewer, you could tell right from the jump they were paying these guys under the table and through other means, which that winger guy was a fucking riot.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I couldn't believe how many companies I was working for. He's like, I was getting checks from like this business, this
Right.
business. I mean,
that guy was great.
He
The
was
Twins were
great.
great too.
Yeah.
they were all great.
They
They were.
couldn't stop fucking talking over me.
yeah.
The Beauregard
Like-
guy was hilarious.
The who?
Beauregard, the one-eyed guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
One Eye
the
Willie.
One Eye
Yeah,
Willie,
yeah.
yeah.
They were all like just
Yeah, so then they get that, and then they ball the fans up, and respectfully as possible, but they found 2 rabid fans who were confined to wheelchairs, and it was
Yeah.
just like, wow, like these people love the team. Like
They-
it was.
They were devastated
Yeah.
when the team
Yeah.
got shut down.
Well,
They-
my guess for those people is that it's probably very difficult for them to go to a pro hockey game to the nearest team, which would be Boston, maybe Hartford Wolfpack, or New York City. So it'd probably be very difficult. So they're like, holy shit, we got a team in our hometown, and they just went insane for it.
Yeah.
But they weren't the only ones. They highlighted them, but that was like, they were showed like ravenous fans.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, they were behind the bench. They were blowing horn. Like, they had horn, like legit fucking French horns back there. Like,
Vuvuzela, what do you call those things?
it was crazy.
The refs tried to announce a penalty, and they're just like, "Brrr."
I know.
Like wouldn't let them get a word in.
And then sadly, the only problem with the doc to me, and it's no fault of its own, was that towards the end, like I said, I just loved the build up so much, and then it just kind of gets brought down because I thought it was just kind of boring mob mumbo jumbo. You know, it's just like
the FBI gets involved.
yeah, like there was no fucking final match that was lit. That was like, oh, this is like the perfect story. It just kind of like, oh, it's like the standard.
Right. They I think they tried to do that with like the redemption arc for Wingfield.
Yeah, which was good. I enjoyed that. He got fucked up, and then
and then he was like, "Oh, your career is done." He's like, "No, it's not.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's not." The other thing about Wingfield, before we keep going here, his first game. Remember that that story? I don't know. You want to tell that?
Yeah, he walked on the ice, and he handed him a cell phone. He looks up, and he's like, "Answer it."
It's Galante.
He's like, "Fucking getting a fight off the first face off."
And he did
3 seconds into the organization's like existence,
and he
the
beat
gloves
the
dropped.
piss out of that guy. And you know what? Like, you talk to these enforcer types, you really don't even need a phone call. I think that guy knew, like, he knew what he was supposed to do, even if he didn't get that call.
And then the other guy? Zinga. What was his name?
Who?
El Zinga.
Oh,
They showed up to the hospital, and they're like, "Hey,
Here's
we got
this
his
guy's address.
Let us know."
Yeah, like,
So the guy that broke his leg, I mean, that guy had to have gone in witness protection program if he was smart, but he didn't.
yeah, dude.
it probably never occurred to him. You know,
Bro.
like, he did something dirty, but like hockey, you always. And I think there's been another documentary called The Code, okay, where like when Wingfield said, "Yeah, like we'll leave it on the ice." The Galantes sounded like they didn't say it, but it sounds like they were ready to like murder this guy.
Yeah.
They're just gonna like break into his house and kill him.
But it was fucking wild. And then, I mean, we haven't even got to. Sorry, I kind of fast forwarded too much to the ending. We haven't even got to. We're still in the middle here. They get fucking Rupp to play, former Stanley Cup winner, and
That blew my mind.
Like Mike Rupp, and like Mike Rupp is like the perfect guy for that team. Like, he was too good to get involved in any of the shenanigans, like the fighting. But
He was
like,
hilarious.
he
on
was
this.
like a fighter in the NHL.
Yeah.
Like, he was a very tough customer in the NHL.
how good was he? He was good though.
He was like a fourth line kind of guy in the
Okay.
NHL. But he had like and they highlighted him. He in Game 7, I think it was 03 against the Ducks. Like, do you remember? Or maybe you guys don't remember, but the famous Korea gets knocked out on the ice.
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
yes.
Off the mat. You know, like he had
Yes.
he comes back and scores a goal. Like, it was that series, like that famous Stanley Cup Finals. And Rupp had 2 goals in Game 7, and I think they won 2-0. So like he had like the big moment, but he was not like Mike Rupp's an all-star. He was like Mike Rupp might need to make a little money during the lockout kind of guy, and he fit them to a T. And then the part where they're like, yeah, he's talking to his agent, like, I found this team because no one had, like, a lot of guys went to Europe. Some guys went to the AHL if they were young enough and eligible, but most guys were going to Europe. So maybe Rupp didn't have those options. Like, yeah, like I was talking to his agent. I got this team in Connecticut that wants you to play for them. Okay, they want to pay you in cash. He's like, what?
Like, yeah, actual cash. And I guess this goes to show, because this is another thing we forgot to bring up. Gretzky's brother.
Oh yeah, that was his first ever. That was before Wingfield.
Brent
Gretzky.
Brent.
What do you know about him?
I mean, I know the name, and I want to say he might have played for the Chicago Wolves too, back in the day. So I'm pulling up his career.
I felt bad in that part. I felt bad for the guy. Like, he's a sideshow.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure he got money.
They throw this huge press conference and they announce him, and he's obviously has to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's the name. He knows.
But doesn't that like kind of make you feel bad for the guy?
I mean, so now, not really. I mean, I think Brent Gretzky's doing fine, but he did do 39 games for the Chicago Wolves, 98-99, And that was kind of the end of his like real pro career.
Yeah.
And then after that, he was like a UHL guy.
He played for the Lightning.
3 games for the Lightning, yeah. 10 or 13 games for the Lightning, yeah. So like he, in the early '90s, and that was an expansion team. Like those Lightning teams were horrible, and quite honestly, now looking back at it, those teams were run by the Esposito brothers. If you know those names, obviously
My guys.
Tony and Phil Esposito, yeah.
R.I.P. Tony.
R.I.P. Tony. But they were probably doing kind of the same thing, okay? Where it's like, hey, we need a name. Let's get Gretzky. Okay. Well, we can't get Wayne. Let's get Brett to play for the Lightning. That was their inaugural season in '93, '94. So, or maybe they were there for a couple of years. But that was probably the same thing that AJ Galante was like. We got to make a splash. Let's get Gretzky.
Yeah.
So, like, great minds think alike, apparently.
And that's where, like, you say, Dante, like, towards the end, you started rooting for him. I don't see how you can't, because at the end of the day, the way they told the story and the way they went about it, they were just having fun.
Yeah.
And, like,
Lots of fun.
How can you blame if you got a franchise, like, especially that, probably wasn't a big investment for them, even though they probably were making money on it. Like,
it's probably just a way to wash their money too.
They were the team got seized because they were laundering through it. But one of the things I wish, and they did this in the last one we watched too, that we were talking about, they don't disclose any financials, so you don't have a clue. Like what we talked about this with the Woodstock one. I wish they said when the FBI guy was talking and he's saying how they uncovered all this under the table money and money laundering. How much was it? What do you think? First off, what do you think these guys were making legitimately on paper? And then what do you think they were making in addition to that?
That's a good question. I know.
Because I feel like the Galantes were pumping a lot of money through this thing. Because these players would fucking lay down on train tracks for these guys.
Yeah. Okay.
To this day.
So the Southern Pro League, which I think is probably a pretty good comparison to this UHL, that the internet says it pays its players between $4,200 and $14,000 a year for the Southern Pro League a year.
So that they have multiple jobs or a job in addition to this.
Yeah,
okay.
and a lot of times the team will like help them get those jobs in different cities, but they're actual jobs, not like the Galantes were like, yeah, working 6 jobs. Like, I had no idea how many jobs they had. And that was the other thing. They set them up in housing too. In like these beautiful like gated communities in like New Fairfield, Connecticut.
About that.
So it's like, how the fuck did they afford everything?
Yeah.
And like, so that must have been like playing for like the New York Yankees, where it's like of this UHL, where it's like you have first class treatment. Every single thing you could ever want is taken care
of. The mascot, the guy who was the enforcer, and he's like, "I'll fucking gut you." Or he say, "I'll fucking kill you."
That was
he said
great.
it was like a threat, and then it's like, "Oh, he was also the mascot."
That was great.
He was Trasher.
No,
like, how the fuck does that work? Like, because I've always thought of the mascot, unless you're like Benny the Bull, it's kind of like a degrading job, you know? So how do you have like one of your toughest like street guys also doubles as the mascot?
Hey, he was happy to play the role.
I guess, yeah.
That's it. You do what you're asked.
Yeah.
Do what you're told. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. It was fucking great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw, but the Chicklets guys had AJ on.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to it.
How was it?
It was fucking hot, dude. Again, I wanted to hate the kid. He reminded me of like every fucking kid I went to high school with in Massachusetts. Just Italian kid who thought he was, hood, chin strap, crooked hat.
Douchebag is the word you're looking for. Yeah.
And he was lovable by the end.
Yeah,
He was like
yeah.
a nice kid, and he turned his life. Not even turned his life around, but he made something of himself. He started that boxing gym.
Mm-hmm.
He loves it. He's doing well.
Fight promoter, like that. That kid, he's just one of like he's in the right line of work, and it's like you can almost think of like this Trasher's UHL experience is almost like a glorified internship.
For sure.
So he could have gone 2 ways. Was it an internship for the family business, or was it an internship to do this boxing thing that he eventually settled on? And it sounds like he went the other way. So that was, good for him.
So one of the things he mentioned though on it was he had a sister, who they didn't talk about, and one of their fiercest rivals, which actually wasn't the Kalamazoo team, it was actually Adirondack, who I think is like Catskills, like
Yeah.
upstate New York.
Upstate New York, yeah.
The Frostbite, they were like bitter fucking rivals. And Jimmy was trying to find a way to buy them so that he could give them to the daughter.
So the daughter was 14 at the time.
Yes.
So they were going to have to do the same thing, but the daughter,
Really?
the daughter was going to be the GM and president.
That's all. You got to respect that.
Yeah.
You got to respect it. It's like, we're just going to.
But you know what? I bet you if they didn't go down, okay, and he buys this team and he buys another team, we're still talking about, like, maybe Chicago gets an expansion team or the Hounds play in the UHL, and it's like, I think the Galantes
What could have been.
could have made this like minor league hockey thing into like a viable business because
could have been.
they knew how to market like scumbag hockey. And that was like, I rolled my eyes at the commissioner when he was like, if you do anything to embarrass a game of hockey, shut the fuck up. Let these guys have some fun.
Yeah.
Supposedly, and then Rear Ad blog this morning, Drake is fucking all about this. He hit up AJ Galante on social media and asked for a jersey. And AJ took his jersey off his wall and sent it to him.
That's
Really?
wild.
Which that is like, that kind of cracks me up. It
Yeah.
just shows how every Canadian is obsessed with any hockey,
Yeah.
anything they can get
Even
their hands
Drake.
on.
I
It's
didn't
a
know
good
Drake
story,
was a hockey
man.
guy.
Fuck an ATV, fuck a boat, fuck all those toys.
Yeah,
Get yourself
just
a
get
franchise. Fucking Galantes,
Yeah.
man. Well, all right.
All
That
right,
was
so circle back to the beginning now. So last night,
The story.
yeah. So last
Okay.
night,
it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought. All right, continue.
so last night I'm in New York going to the MGK show. A bunch of guys from the company and girls, and Feidelberg's there. I haven't seen him in a while. Last time I was there, he was in the hospital with some undiagnosed condition, which he still doesn't know. And he looks good, and I'm asking what he's been up to, and he's like, man, I got into these Russian bathhouses. And I'm like, that is very, that's
On
very,
brand, I would say, for John, though.
But he tells me it's life-changing, and like half the company is doing it now. I said, how did this start? He said, I guess Ed told Donnie about it because Ed's a big bathhouse guy. Donnie got KB got PFT, and it's like domino effect. And all these guys on Saturdays now are going to this bathhouse.
How have they never said anything to me yet?
How have you never said anything to me about this? It sounds like the best place ever.
It's awesome.
Where's the one you go? There is one over on Division.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
one.
the Russian
It's called
Square one, right?
Red Square. Yeah.
Red
Yeah.
Square.
Red Square. I haven't been there yet. I have one by me on Addison. and
Let's
Cicero,
take a field trip.
called the Chicago Sweat Lodge, and it is awesome.
Can we take a field trip?
I was all wrong on it. I thought it was basically like East Bank Club with a sauna and a
No,
steam room.
no. It's awesome. It's got a Turkish wet sauna. It's got a Russian dry sauna.
Yeah.
And it's got a cold pool in the middle that you submerge yourself in between the heat. And it's awesome. It's very refreshing.
How long you been doing this?
Right. 5 years, 6 years.
Is this a regular part of your routine?
I didn't go much over COVID just because
Yeah.
that just does not seem like a place, and I haven't really
Yes.
gone back yet. But it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. It really is great.
I'm willing to give it a try.
So he said that they serve you soup in the middle of the session.
Yeah, they're all different. You know, like I said, I haven't gone to Red Square yet, but they're all like, and yeah, sometimes like there's a lot of times you just eat it. It's like me and a bunch of Eastern European guys.
That's
and,
what they said. They said they were the
Yeah.
coolest guys ever, though.
and you just sit there and like there's like the sauna part, and then you go to the other part, and then it's like a bunch of people sitting around eating sausage and pierogies.
That's what Chuck said. Chuck goes, in the one in Chicago that I've been to, they serve sausage, not soup.
Yeah,
And
sausage and
everyone was like,
pierogies.
of course
That
they
sounds
do.
awesome. Though.
Yeah, so it's great, man.
They have TVs in there?
Yeah, they got
Okay.
TV. They got like a bunch of those zero gravity chairs. Like when you get out of the sauna, you could just sit there in your towel and watch like the Cubs game. It's awesome.
I don't think I know what it is.
I
gotta
want to go. I want to go.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, we'll go.
All right, field trip.
All right. I was like, what could this be? But no, I didn't. Nobody even said that they did it.
That
Dude,
you started
I was-
a revolution?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
A Russian,
Ed?
a Russian revolution started by Ed. Weird.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
That's wrong.
very weird.
That's wrong. And the
Shocking.
Show. End the show. Thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. Chief and I, Allie's in Europe, so Chief and I will be talking about the Murdaugh murders.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. See you tomorrow.